Hello, hello. How is everybody? So this is a live video and today I have a special guest. So I'm just checking to make sure that you guys can hear me. So as you guys know, this is a live video, and if for any reason you guys cannot hear me, my recommendation will be just to close the app and then reopen again. And I know that works. If you can hear me, we are good and we are ready to share huge information. To me, maybe it will be one of the most important information that I have shared here in my video. Why? Because to be able to protect your business, your family, your packet, it's so important to find the right insurance. And many of you guys probably are telling me, I'm in the business for 20 years, never happened, nothing happened to me. I'm still in business. But that's not the point. If you are new or you are in the business for 10 years or 20 years, you need to protect your business. And the best way is having a childcare insurance. This is not a home insurance. This is not a car insurance. This is just a childcare insurance, which is gonna prevent and which is gonna protect your business, your family, your packet. That's what I'm gonna be talking today. I'm just a childcare provider. I'm not the expert. So for that reason, today I have a guest. His name is Rafael Escalante, and he is here with us. And I would like him to join us. Hello, Rafael.
Hello, Leidy. How you doing?
Welcome to this
again.
channel, and
Thank
you
you
so much for your time.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I was so happy when I told you via Facebook that I really needed an expert, somebody who can guide us, somebody who can tell us what to do and what not to do. So I'm super happy that you are here. And for the new people, if you haven't subscribed, please, I recommend you to subscribe. I'm gonna be having a raffle very soon, as soon as I reach 5,000 subscribers. And if you guys like this kind of video and you like to see Rafael again, back to this channel, don't forget to like this video. Also share this video with another provider, because you probably have insurance, but maybe another one doesn't, and they don't know the importance. So today Rafael is going to be going over every step, what to do. He's going to be teaching you about what to look in a childcare policy. So there is a lot of information. I already have my notebook here and my pen, because there is a lot of information that you guys probably you would never hear in your life before. Like, we just finished the Spanish version of this video, and there is a lot of new stuff that I have here, and I'm ready to practice. So it's not just listening new videos, it's also putting all this in practice and taking action. Thank you, Rafael. I'm gonna pass the microphone to you.
Thank you. Thanks once again. I will be sharing my screen right now, and I will be going through the different things that we talk about in the Spanish presentation. We're just going to switch our brain now and go back to English. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Rafael Escalante. I've been in the childcare business for almost 20 years. I want to say now, with all this experience that I have, that I'm an expert in childcare insurance. So hopefully with the information I'm about to give you today, is going to help you to either, get yourself protected, get better protected, ask questions if you already have insurance, if you already have these covers that we're going to be talking about. Now I work for an insurance company that is called Child Inc. We specialize in childcare insurance. We do insurance in pretty much every single state in the United States. So if you're in other states other than California, most probably I'll be able to help you. First thing that comes to mind when we talk about insurance, this is all related, even though it says licensing and parents, everything is attached to each other. The term licensing refers to all regulatory agencies. Normally here in California is license, right? We talk about license, everybody gets freaked out and like, oh no, what am I going to do? So it's very important that you know the regulations, establish an open professional relationship with your representative, and complaints with licensing, because of the simple fact that you are licensed through the state of California. Anyone can have access to your license. Anyone can have access to put in an allegation. The first thing that I'd like to talk about is parents' contracts are very important. A lot of childcare providers they have contracts with resource referral agencies. So some of them think that, okay, this is good enough for me. I don't have to be doing anything else. Uh, excuse me. But that's not correct. So make sure that you have your own contract. Talk about rates, service provided, on-time pickup, late fees, scheduled days that you will be closed. Holidays are coming. We all need to rest. Termination conditions, policy on sick children. More than ever now. I think now more than ever we have a very because of COVID. Anything of a sick child, they must be going home. Be consistent when enforcing the contract. It's not the first time in childcare. Ask why they left the other facility. When normally when I'm doing the presentations, I like to talk about cases that happen in real life because, like Lady was saying at the very beginning, a lot of childcare providers being in business for such a long time, they say I have the greatest parents, I have the greatest kids. Good for you, but trust me, something happens. Um, the parents are not going to be so much, welcome with you guys with the childcare provider anymore because they want to have protection for their kids. Only upset the child when all the paperwork is complete. And when we mean complete, is complete. All the records, who's picking up the kid, who's dropping off the kid, if he's allergic to any food, any special treatment that he may require. Parents may ask you to take the child without completed paperwork. Don't do it. Do not do it. We had a case that childcare provider took a kid with no contract. The provider wasn't home when the kid was dropped off. It was time to eat breakfast. They served peanut butter. The kid was allergic to peanut butter. He needed to be taken to the hospital on the first day at the daycare. Licensing got involved. It was a really, really, really bad case. At the end, the provider was doing a favor for this parent, and the parent decided to sue the provider. So that is how important that piece of paper could be. Do not do any favors for any parent that could endanger a child or cost your license. Remember how hard it is to get that license and keep it up to date. Make sure that you don't do anything out of the ordinary to help anyone else. Sign in, sign out sheets. This is always a topic that we open up when we used to have live presentations, and we used to ask, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with that? What happens if if a person that is not on the contract come and picks up the kid? What is going to happen? So that kind of stuff. So keep track of dropouts. It also helps you if you're working for a reasonable referral agency to get paid. If something is not after a parent leaves, call to get details. What do we mean by that? Do a little quick scan of the kid. Make sure that there's nothing wrong. There's no any marks on their arms, on their legs. Not necessarily get the kid, to take off the clothes, but just a quick checkup. Have the parent initial and document the file. Anytime that you have anything that you think is going to come back and you may have an issue with that, make sure that you always, always, always document everything, because documenting everything has more power than he say, she say, than you wrote it down. On November 22nd at 4:20, I was present at a workshop with Rafael and Leidy. So that helps. You wrote it down. No one should be allowed to pick up a child without prior authorization in the child's file, not even a family member or a close friend. And this is something that with technology, a lot of childcare providers now they say, oh, well, I have the parents send me a picture of the person who's going to pick him up, a picture of the driver's license, and this, it may work, absolutely. But, in the event that works, and that's what I'm saying on a live presentation, we open up and different providers have different answers to this question. If the parent is involved in a custody dispute, be sure that you have all the court documents and obey the instructions on those forms. Very important. Licensing. Now everybody's coming back with licensing visits, because now we seem to be going a little bit back to normal. So I'm sure everyone now probably had a visit from licensing at this point. So if you did, great for you. If you have another visit after you already had your regular visit, that's not that great. It means somebody probably put a complaint. Something is going on. If you're changing your license capacity, that is great. That's probably the reason why they may come back. No one should be allowed once again to pick up the child. Make sure that you do that, because that could bring you into a lot of problems. Unannounced LPA visits. Be sure that you left with a written summary of the visit. Normally, and 99% of the time, they'll always leave you with a report in hand. But we had cases where attorneys representing providers cases. they recommend that you do not sign anything blank. The reason why being is because later on, that same childcare provider forgot to write something on that report, and while they're already gone, they may write it and you probably don't see it. If you see any blank spaces on the report that they give you, you can always draw a line so that everything that is there, is there now. A lot of childcare providers don't agree with the violation that they're being given. You have the right to say, I do not know what violation is, and then you can sign it. Make sure that you understand your appeal rights. Make sure that you understand that, because that's very important. How many days do you have to go ahead and file an appeal for a case? As the time has been going on, and we've been doing this presentation for quite some time, and this is some of the violations that it seems like they don't go away. These are most of the most common violations: fire, current roster, CPR, fingerprinting. Fingerprinting and overcapacity is now becoming a bigger issue. A lot of insurance companies, talking a little bit about insurance, they're not insuring childcare providers to have either one of those violations. Any violation type 8, they're not going to insure you. And besides not being insured, you now licensing is giving you a civil fine, which means money, if you have either one of the fingerprints or overcapacity. The other ones are just type B violation that you can get away with it, but be careful with those violations. Because of the fact that you have your daycare in your home, there's a lot of off limits areas. As it is, keeping that way, keeping off limits. It may be inconvenient, but door locks guarantee no entry. You can use a collapsible fence if you have a two-story home. Place outside gate latches near top of the gate to make it harder for the children to reach. Nowadays, technology, once again, a lot of providers have now cameras, alarms, all of this stuff, which is great. But if you don't, tingling bells, they still work. You can put them up on the door, and they're going to let you know when somebody's coming in or coming out. Regulations require for all hazardous items to be inaccessible to children, including guns, which have their own set of specialized rules. So if you do have guns, make sure that you follow the rules. Make sure that you always keep away all the hazardous material, bleach, soap, all of those things away, because now licensing is really paying attention to those little things as well. Staff ratios and overcapacity. This is, once again, very important. It is very important to follow the rules regarding staff to children ratios. A lot of times, childcare providers, especially when they're new, they're given a license for 8 kids. So they say, oh, I can have 8 kids. Not necessarily. I'm sure, people who have experienced this, you can have so many kids for this age, so many kids for that age. Make sure that you follow those rules. Make sure that you have something in writing where it tells you how many kids of certain age you can have, or after school, infants, all of those things that you can have. If you operate multiple sections, great for your business. Early arrivals or late pickups can be exposed for you to be cited for overcapacity. Have a plan if this occurs. A lot of times childcare providers either have 2 shifts, they have an hour in between where they can, if somebody comes late, somebody's coming early, where they can play around with this so they're never caught with overcapacity. Licensing is very strict on overcapacity. They don't care if traffic is bad. So providers have been cited and fined. So make sure that that you keep that away, because now if you have up to I think it's on the second violation or third violation, licensing starts revoking your license. So make sure that you keep those overcapacity and fingerprint is really, really tight. Fingerprinting. Be sure that you understand who's required to be fingerprinted and have it done. What we mean by that is anyone living in your household up to the age of 18. How many days prior to them turning 18? What if your son, if your daughter leaves for college? Do you still have to require to have them fingerprinted? What if somebody comes visit you now with the holidays? How many days can they stay at your house without being fingerprinted so you can be good? Do not permit any adults, including volunteer parents and family members, to access your facility during daycare hour without checking with licensing. I've done many workshops all over the state of California and in different parts in the north, in the south, everywhere. Sometimes these rules are a little bit different from one to another. So make sure that you understand from your LPA how does this work. You must maintain a file with the finger records of everyone who's required to be fingerprinted, even if they're not at your house. Remember that, even if they're not at your house, which meaning kids that may go to school, to college, they eventually may come back for vacation and all those things. So make sure that you keep those on file. And now we're going to start talking about legal issues that leads to insurance. Disagreement with parents. If you have a dispute with the parents, discuss the situation and make sure that you conversation and have the parent initiate it. Most of the time, the parent's not going to initiate it because they're going to be a little bit upset about what happened, but it doesn't matter. As long as you write it, you document the file, you put it in the file, document that on this day this happened. That will be very valuable in the event something happens down the road. If the problem continues, give it a second warning. Always use a second warning before you try to terminate the contract. And talking about the contract, try to have something in there that will protect you in the event that you need to get rid of a parent right away. So make sure that you use that on your contract, that you have a clause that you can go ahead and use. You may feel sorry for the parents, probably have a special feeling for the child. You always have special feeling for the child, but could be putting your license in jeopardy. Remember, the kid is not going to be the problem. The kid may never be the problem. The problem would always be the parents. So make sure that that you keep both separated, and even though one is next to each other, always try to keep professional. It's often the parents that you try to do the most for will file a complaint when the favors stop. You're doing a special favor for a parent for a long time. Then all of a sudden you say, okay, this got to stop. I cannot be doing this. And they stop. So the parents going to say, what happened here? Why, how come she doesn't want to take care of my kid at the extra hour? How come he doesn't want to not feed him? It could be a lot of different things that could happen. In between everything that happens at the daycare, this is something that we always talk about: report cards. Have a little report card every so often that the parents can fill out. You can select different questions and put them up, where everybody signs in, signs out. You can use that, and you can just let them know, I'm using this because I want to improve my services. I want to be able to provide a written record of parents input in regarding your operations. Knowing about the report cards often stop complaints and can help prove your case if a claims or lawsuit is filed. Have a parents complete this every 3 or 4 months. That will help you. Trust me, it will help you. Just keep them away and file them. Explain that you value their input, because they're going to make them feel like you're making them part of the program besides bringing the kids over. They're also valuable. If your parent makes a complaint to licensing in the future, you can use that as a form that you can defend yourself. These are just a couple of questions a few questions that we have here. Every provider can use different questions that they may want to use. Like I say in previous workshops, a lot of childcare providers always have different questions. Oh, I always ask blah blah blah. I always ask this and that. So anyway, these are some of the questions that we recommend. You can do whatever questions you want to do. You can say, are you satisfied with the care your child is receiving? Do you feel child is happy and feels safe? Do you feel the child is in a healthy environment? Very, very important. Do you have any suggestions that may enhance your child's experience? Maybe they want to start doing an activity that you've probably been thinking about doing, and a parent say, oh, why don't we do this? Maybe you want to give it a shot. Out of everything that happens on the daycare on a daily basis, accidents could happen very often. After every injury, if a child is injured while in your care, get proper care immediately and notify the child's parents. Always document the details, including what and how the injury happened. Get statements for any witnesses. Keep the report on file. Discuss it with the parents. Report to licensing in accordance to the state regulations. And this is once again something that I like to open up for questions when we're doing this live. How many days do you have to report an accident? How many days do you have to appeal something for licensing? And believe it or not, the answers always vary. Very, very often, even though we're within the same state and everyone's supposed to have the same rules by counting a lot of times changes. So, keep your eye on that. And now we're going to get into something, more serious and talking about insurance now. Claims and lawsuits. When every childcare providers open up their daycare, one of the piece of paper that licensing give you is an affidavit. An affidavit means that you are just letting your clients know that you don't have insurance. It does not say in no way that they're not going to be able to file a lawsuit if something happens. It's not saying in any way that the piece of paper is protecting you from anything or hold you harmless for anything that may happen at the daycare. So make sure that you understand that, because we have so many clients, we have so many childcare providers that have gone to court and they say, well, I have an affidavit where it says it's protecting me in the event that there's a lawsuit. No, that's not protecting you whatsoever. is not protection at all. So, for example, another insurance that is out there that a lot of childcare providers use is under the homeowners or renters policy, which is extremely limited. Usually, it doesn't include any child abuse coverage. Most of the claims allegations that we receive is about child abuse. Child abuse in few different ways: physical, mental, sexual, anything. So make sure that on the policy that you may purchase or that you may have, that is included. If you are sued, you have to hire an attorney and possibly pay a judgment. A judgment is something where the judge is going to say, okay, this case is against the childcare provider. Childcare provider is going to pay $50,000 to the client. So where's that money going to come from? So which can come out of your own pocket if you don't have an insurance. Um, what you need to know about the insurance you buy. And these are only a couple of questions that we included here, but of course, there's all the other questions, there's all the other covers that you can have. Questions to consider. And these are questions that you can ask your current insurance carrier, or if you in the market trying to get insurance for yourself. Is coverage the same for the provider, employees, volunteers, and all residents of the household? What do we mean by that? What we mean by that is that anyone that lives in your household, anyone that is an employee, if you will have protection in the event somebody files an allegation against you because of the actions. So make sure that that is included. Are all claims, expenses, and legal fees in addition to the policy limits? That what does that mean? What means is that when you buy an insurance, I'm just going to go with the basic. You buy an insurance for $100,000. Out of $100,000, you get a claim against you. The attorney is going to charge $25,000 to defend you in this case. So when the case is all settled and done, who is going to pay the $25,000? Is it going to come out of the legal out of the coverage that you already have, or is it something extra that the insurance company is going to pay? Normally, a good insurance company will pay all the limits, all the attorney fees out of pocket, meaning that you don't have to pay anything, and the fees will be paid on top of whatever insurance you may have. Is there a separate limit for abuse coverage? If so, what is the limit? Normally, on a good insurance, on a new insurance company, a good coverage will give you three different coverage: liability, child abuse, accident medical, negligence, professional liability. It's different coverage that you can have in your policy itself. Are animals dispensing medication, food preparation, field trips, infant label, slander, operating after normal hours, playground equipment, often as the premises covered, not the playground itself, but if something happens while a kid is in swing at the local park, you bring him to the park and they have an accident at the park, and still within hours of operations for your child care, is this going to be covered? Is this if I dispense medicine to kids? What if I prepare food? What if I take them on a field trip? All of those things are things that you will need to ask. Once again, providers do need a special insurance. Just like when we have our car insurance, we need car insurance. We have home, we need home insurance. And for everyone who owns a business, they probably have insurance within whatever they do. So make sure that liability insurance will provide and pay legal expenses to defend you and pay any settlements that may arise up to the policy limits and any covered claim. Your policy should include, this is what I was talking about the previous slide, professional liability with coverage from negligent supervision and child abuse. Liability issues normally take a long time to decide. So if a child is injured, they need medical treatment immediately. So an accident medical policy is also recommended. This is part of the policy that is normally offered for childcare providers. So this is something that you may still want to ask and see if all of those things are covered. The right accident medical policy doesn't assign any blame. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. It just pays the medical bills of any covered claim that may happen. And this is a very magical word that I'm always talking about. It is recommended that your policy be on a per occurrence basis and not on a claims made policy. And I will give you a little bit of explanation on what does those two little words means. Per occurrence, it means, I'm just going to give you an example. On 2021, provider X went into business. In 2022, they say, oh no, this is not for me, I'm quitting. Closes the business, closes the daycare, and within that policy period, they had insurance. So come 3-4 years from now, one of the parents that you were taking care of the kids, they come in and say, I'm looking for so and so. And yes, what happened? Well, back when my kid was here, he was telling me, he just recently told me that your son, your daughter, or yourself were not feeding him, that you pull his hair, that you hit him. I mean, it could be so many allegations, right? So as long as your policy is written on a per occurrence basis, it means that no matter if you went out of business, no matter if you only went out of business in once, just that particular year, as long as you had insurance, they'll still have the right to defend you. So they will defend you if you have insurance per occurrence. Claims made is normally an auto insurance, which means if you have insurance and you have an accident, that's covered. If you don't have insurance and the accident happened, you do not have insurance. So even if you've been out of business for such a long time or you closed the business, as long as you had insurance within that policy period where the allegations are happening, the insurance company will still defend you. What you need to know about the insurance you buy. What is the limit for child accident insurance? Is there a deductible? A deductible is the first money that comes out of your pocket. Normally, in the accident medical insurance for childcare, there's no deductible. So the insurance normally pays from the first cent up. Thus, the accident medical insurance is covered for children injured on field trips, on automobile. And this is automobile is something where I like to put a little bit extra emphasis on it, is because a lot of childcare providers say, oh, I have $1 million insurance on my auto. That doesn't necessarily mean that the kids are going to be covered. Normally, what you need insurance when you have a business, in this case for childcare, is for transporting kids. And in my experience, trust me, there's no insurance company that is selling commercial auto insurance for childcare providers. So make sure that you ask those questions. Make sure that at least if that accident medical is going to cover you in the event of an accident, I mean, you have a little bit of coverage, at least on that. With that being said, where do you buy insurance? Unfortunately, they don't all provide the proper coverage you need for childcare. There's a few insurance companies out there that will provide you with services. There's not a lot of specialized childcare insurance, unfortunately, just because of the simple fact that because there's 35,000 childcare providers, licensed childcare providers in the state of California. Out of that 35,000, only about 5% of those childcare providers buy insurance. Which mean what? Insurance companies don't see a profit in that. So that's why the limits are very limited and there's not a lot of competition. If in California they would make a law that says you must carry childcare insurance when you have a license, trust me, all of those big companies will go in business, but they don't go in business because they don't see this as a profitable way for them to make money. I don't know if we're going to have any questions, Leidy, if we're going to be able to answer any questions, but it seems like the English version is a little bit faster than the Spanish version. But if you have any questions, on the database, you can just go ahead and ask me those.
Okay. Thank you, Rafael, for all this big information. Can you close your?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. I wanted to appreciate your time and all the information that I have received. I have my notes with me, and there is so much information that I didn't know, and I'm happy to be able to be here with you and have you as a guest. And because you are the expert, you know exactly all the stories that you can tell us. I cannot imagine how many stories you have here about providers normally crying to you and telling you, hey, this is what happened.
Yes.
So if you're a childcare provider, don't wait until something bad happens.
Exactly.
Let's do a prevention thing, which is just calling and getting insurance and getting a protection. I have, for example, I'm in California, but this channel goes everywhere. Can they still get childcare insurance with your company?
Absolutely. As long as they're childcare providers licensed in any state, we will be able to write them. There's
So
only
if they
like
have
one
a
or two
license,
states.
right?
Yes. Even if they're not licensed, there's special cases that we can still insure them.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, so if I'm in Texas, I can still get insurance.
Absolutely. Yes. Texas,
Okay.
Florida, Washington, Oregon.
Okay, so, but what happens if I'm a new provider and I only have one child, so I'm not making enough money?
Well, this is something, prices are not really expensive as a lot of childcare providers may think, because they think commercial insurance. Oh my God, this is very expensive. So insurance will, the lowest price that there is like $300-400 a year, up to $1,100 a year, which is when you already have a great operation, you have a great insurance, you have $1 million. So all of those things. But it's very recommendable that at least get the basic insurance that you can have some coverage. And the good thing that I don't think I mentioned is that all of this could be write off from your taxes. You can write it off. So it's not that you're getting free insurance, but you're writing it off your expenses, which is really good.
So childcare provider, if you're listening this video, for $400, you can now get insurance. Get the minimum at the beginning if you're new. But if you're like me, for example, you already have 14 kids in the morning or in the afternoon, you must have insurance because you never know. Probably
Absolutely.
you never had a bad experience. You were lucky. But this doesn't mean that we are gonna be all lucky. Like in my case, I had the stories that I don't want to share. But believe me, you have to get insurance.
Yeah.
If I didn't have insurance, I will be crying. I will be spending money that I don't have. Nobody has extra money for going and finding a lawyer.
Good attorney. Yep.
Yeah, it's so much going on. There is a lot of stuff that there is people who can just, if they go and they file a claim against us, they can shut down our place in one day. And we don't want that. Like in my case, my childcare is my passion, it's my baby. And when you have a baby, you want to protect your baby.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You want to buy daycare insurance because a lot of providers think, Rafael, that if you just have home insurance or car insurance, that's going to protect us. Can you let us know about that?
No, absolutely. Yeah. Well, a lot of childcare providers, when they have their homeowners insurance, they say, well, I want to have an extra for this, an extra for that. But it doesn't protect your business. It doesn't protect your child care. And besides that, it doesn't protect you. So in the event something happens, they're going to say, well, where's your insurance for your child care? Oh, here it is. It's my homeowners. It's not going to work. And homeowners, they don't know anything about child care. Your business, child care is very unique. So insurance, it is very unique. So, you need both of them to be able to have good coverage for you.
Yeah, something that I really like about what you say today is document everything. Get a notebook, go to the Dollar Tree, get something for $1, and just start documenting about any kind of injury, when, how it happened, where it happened, what did you do.
Exactly.
And then also notifying also licensing and the parents is so important.
Absolutely.
Because like you said, the kids are not a problem, but it will take one parent. Just takes one parent to close your childcare, and don't be waiting until that happens. Prevent today. Now, Rafael, for example, I'm ready to get insurance.
Yes.
What kind of documents do I need to have in order to get insurance?
Most of the insurance companies that specializes in childcare, the only document they're going to request from you will be a picture, email from your childcare license. If you don't have that handy, just your facility number, because that's where we start doing our investigation, our underwriting, to see how your license report is. So from that, I can tell you right off the bat, oh, you're insurable. I can go ahead and get you insurance. And then most of the time, they fill out the application for you on the phone.
Okay, now I remember one time one insurance told me, if you start doing transportation, I cannot serve you anymore.
Right.
If you do field trips, I cannot have you. So
exactly,
I don't have choices.
Yeah. When that happens, unfortunately, because of what I was saying, that a lot of childcare providers don't get insurance, and insurance is a business. Insurance companies see it and say, okay, there's not enough money to be made here. If we have a claim, we lose everything that we made. So that's why they've been restricting and excluding a lot of things such as transportation, swimming pools, overnight. A lot of those things, they're being just excluding them from the coverage because those are the most common cases that we get.
Okay, so now, is any way that I can, like I'm a new provider, let's say, and so is any way that I can get a quote? Because right now I have one insurance, but I would like to get a quote to compare.
Absolutely. And that's the best way to go. That's when you're doing your homework correctly. You get yourself, 30 minutes and say, okay, let me see how much this insurance company is going to cost me and what they're going to offer me. How much is this one? Most of the insurance company for childcare, they normally offer you the same. What you got to be really careful on is the exclusions. If you're excluded for doing this, What happens if I have a claim for this? Because some insurance companies, unfortunately, are using on a reimbursement basis, meaning you paid out of your pocket first, and then the insurance company reimburses you. That's not a good policy. And there's some insurance companies that are doing that. So very important that those are little questions that you can ask that could save you a lot of money and save you a
Yeah,
lot of headache.
especially saving money. That's what we want to have
Yes.
daycare insurance, because if you have money, a lot of money in the bank, so you don't have to worry.
Right.
But in my case, I do not have money for
Right.
paying and getting sued and closing my business and going to the whole drama.
Yeah.
Our life is already so stressful because working with kids is not easy.
Your job is very hard.
And on top, imagine what happens if somebody comes and sue me, and now you are thinking that you are more stressed. So it's just get it. So, for example, if I took a decision and I want to get insurance today, how long will it take?
Very simple. I'm going to talk about my case, my experience doing this. I can get you insured the same day. You call me today, in 2 hours, I get you your policy in your email. As long as I have what I need, I should be able to underwrite the policy.
And you need a license.
And then what I normally do is I like to send that the prices, the application. They don't have to fill it out, so they know what I'm talking about. I say, this is how much it is. You can see it in writing. I'm not making this up. I'm not telling you your policy is going to be $100, and when you call me, it's going to be $350. That doesn't work like that. That's not ethical. So, here's the paperwork. This is your quote. This is what you're going to pay. And these are the questions I'm going to ask you. So be ready, and off we go.
Yeah. And now one of the biggest questions, all the time I get a call, where can I get insurance? Like how we can contact you? Where can we call you?
Thank you.
What's the best way?
Thank you. Appreciate that. My phone number, I put it on the chat, but I'm going to give it to you live. My number is area code 323-405-5470. That number, you can get a hold of me anytime. I normally open from business from 7 in the morning up until 7 at night, because I understand childcare providers are very busy. They always have a lot of kids around. So, I try to make time after hours, before hours. So, they can go ahead and help them out. So anytime you need to reach out to me, we can make an appointment early, late in the afternoon, whatever works for you.
Okay. And also for the people who didn't get the number right away, if you don't have a pen, here in the description of this video, here below, you just click there and you're going to be able to see right now your phone number, Rafael's phone number, and also the email address. So where you guys can contact him directly. Remember, I don't sell insurance. I'm a childcare. That's why we need professionals. We need people who are expert on this area, because sometimes many providers, they want to do everything. I know we are superwomen and we can do a lot of things. We can share different hats and we can do so much stuff, but we need people who are professionals who can help us. We need those people because we cannot do everything.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Okay. Rafael, thank you so much for your time, for always be so open to talk to us. My husband wants to talk to you. He wants to talk about our coverage that we have. He's already, thanks to this video, right now he's analyzing to make sure that we might have to increase a little bit more, because we never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Absolutely.
That's why we have to prevent that today.
I am absolutely.
Don't wait for tomorrow. Rafael, before we go, do you want to give any last advice, last tips?
Absolutely. First and foremost, thank you so
viewers?
much for the invite. I really appreciate it. I love coming and doing these things. I know this is our first time working together. I hope it's not the last. And if anyone has any questions, anyone has any concerns, anything that I can help you with, like I said at the beginning, I'm an agent, but I don't necessarily sell my business. I'll be more than happy to lead you to have a really good insurance or anything that you may need. I'm always very reachable. And once again, thank you, Leidy. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Rafael. And if you guys like this kind of video, you want to see Rafael again in another video giving us, today he just informed us not only about insurance, it was all about protection. It was about how to use our attendance sheets, why we should be contacting the parents, what kind of document. It was so much. And thank you for the extra information that you guys gave us. That's why I was writing to make sure that I get everything, because I forget a lot. But if I write, I know it's there and I can
Yes.
just check
Document.
my notes. Thank you again. And if
My
you like
pleasure.
this video, don't forget to like it. Also subscribe and share this video with another daycare provider. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one. Hasta pronto. See you soon. Bye.